just about to close off the year, and a new development has emerged as of this evening. News has started circulating that there has been a move within the South African court with regard to the burial process of the late President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. As you may be aware, there has been a tussle between the Zambian government and the Lungu family on where Edgar Chagwa Lungu is to be buried, mostly because of the disagreements between government and the Lungu family on whether President Hakainde Hichilema should attend the funeral. The Lungu family at this point still insists that the Republican President Hakainde Hichilema should be nowhere near the funeral procession or whatever is happening around this funeral. And the government simply says that's protocol. The sitting president is supposed to be at a state funeral. So that back and forth has been in the South African court for a while. As you may be aware, an appeal was thrown out at the High Court. The Lungu family lost, I think, twice. And the Zambian government couldn't get the body because the Lungu family then appealed for permission to be granted to go to Supreme Court. And as of today, that news has, or that update has come through. They've been granted that. That's according to news that's circulating. This is breaking news, actually. The details are developing as we go. But according to what's out there, the South Africa's top appeal court opened the door to Lungu family wins leave to appeal High Court stake burial dispute. The South African Supreme Court of Appeal has granted leave to appeal to the former First Lady, Ms. Esther Lungu, and 6 other applicants. Their matter against the government of the Republic of Zambia and Two Mountain Burial Services Limited and Minister of International Relations and Cooperation. So pretty much those are the details that have emerged. The Lungu family has been given that permission. Obviously, Emmanuel Mwamba was the first person to break this news. When he got the court documents, he circulated them to the public for them to be aware that that's the new development that has come through right before we close off 2025. So a new battle is about to be broadcast pretty much in the South African Supreme Court, where the Zambian government and the Lungu family are going to be battling it out on whether the body comes back to Zambia or it stays in South Africa until they feel an ideal situation happens. And that's those court documents as publicized by Mano Mwamba, and obviously a number of platforms now have them. So application of leave to appeal Esther Lungu and others. This is government of the Republic of Zambia. As you can see, that's what's going on there. And Mano Mwamba put up the same Mama Esther Lungu granted appeal to Supreme Court over the remains of Zambia's late president. Court finds merit in harm application against the order of Gauteng High Court, which ruled that she should surrender to the public. She should surrender to the government, the Zambian government, to repatriate the mortal remains of the late president. The Supreme Court of South Africa has granted an appeal by the family of the late President Edgar Chagwa Lungu, 60th President of Zambia, to challenge the decision of the Gauteng High Court to repatriate to Zambia the mortal remains of the deceased. Earlier, the High Court had ruled that the family surrender the body surrender the body of Lungu to the government of the Republic of Zambia for a funeral and burial in Lusaka. Zambia, Lusaka, Zambia, as he was entitled to official ceremony of state honors. But the family always argued that the matter of the funeral and the body was entirely up to the family to decide. The permission to appeal was granted in an order signed by the acting chief registrar of the Supreme Court. They signed it off. So that's what's going on. Those are the details that have emerged. And Nevas Mumba's weighed in also, obviously, has issued a statement just a couple of 5 hours ago, actually. In fact, it was even before that those documents circulated online. He might have been aware that had happened because the dates that are reflecting on those documents. You can see, let me just show you one of them. Some of them are showing as far as 22nd December 2025, and then right now This is the 23rd. So this document was in circulation most likely yesterday privately. It has just been made public now. So there's a possibility that Nevers Mumba had that information. So he put up this article in response to what's going on. So he says, Umwaka wapwa, let President Edgar Chagalungu be brought back home. So he simply says the year has ended right now, and he says, in continuing with my theme for the last couple of statements, I wish to restate the idea of my belief that Zambia today is trapped in a serious lack of trust, and mistrust lies at the center of many of our national standoffs. I have written before about this role in the Bill 7 debate with a sharp reflection from some corners. However, the most painful and shameful expression of this unfortunate situation can be seen in the long delay in the burial of our late President Edgar Chagalungu. The situation did not arise by choice. It is driven by deep suspicion among political players that the suspicions be fed by political differences, tribal thinking, and past bad history, and more than anything else, political propaganda. Too many people have found it easier to spread fear and half truths than build trust. They prey on the real insecurities and the struggles of the poverty of the people, even though they know that the national development is slow process and requires patience. The result is very clear for all to see. Our public discourse, especially on social media, is now filled with insults, hatred, debate, and has been replaced by abuse, anger, and taken the place of empathy. In such an atmosphere, even death cannot unite us. The delay to laying President Lungu to rest, for example, is not an isolated failure. It is part of the bigger problem and a direct result of the mistrust we have allowed to grow. There is no odd truth in the, I mean, there is an odd truth in the Bible that says how good and pleasant it is when people choose to live together in unity. The truth matters now more than ever. I mean, this truth matters now more than ever. Without unity and the lack of trust and deepens without working together. Even moments that should humble us, such as the funeral, only divide us further. As we come to the end of this year, 2025, there can be no more excuses for the situation has reached its dead end and it's no longer acceptable. Someone somewhere must rise above politics and make this first move. The motto remains of President Lungu must be brought back to the land of his forefathers. He must be buried with empathy and dignity. He must be allowed to rest. Please let Edgar Chagalungu come back or come home. That's Nevers Mumba's statement. But I don't see that happening. This battle is just about to go further to the Supreme Court and eventually it might even go to the Constitutional Court of South Africa before even. But by that time, Mama Shomi, even Zambia, the elections would have taken place. Seems like that's the goal here. And yeah, so that's what's going on in the news. And then nationalize mines to stop plunder. That's what someone's Dr. Mbita Chitala says. That's in the Daily Nation. Remains has moved to the Supreme Court of South Africa.